maybe he's not even a big fish that they want, and maybe they want him,
to
spill the beans on somebody.
Well, and let's be clear, there's no immunity for murder. Also, the other situation boils down to he also was snitching on Sean Puffy Combs. So he was saying, hey, if I got half of that money that he promised another person, then hey, I would be straight. I would have been X, Y, and Z. So again, I've seen a couple YouTube channels basically saying, hey, man, there's no way they're going to implement Puff in this situation. There's no way they can prove it. They're not going to use this scumbag who's basically been capping for a while and that's a scammer to basically bring down somebody who brings in money like Puff. But let's be clear, he lost that deal with weed dispensary. That was $100 million deal. He lost the Diageo situation. That was $100 million situation plus. He's not bringing in the money that he used to. So he's not as valuable as he was to the conglomerates, the 1% before.
And it makes you wonder why he gave back his publishing rights to his artists when he's losing money.
Right. And then also we saw Whack 100 also say that, hey, man, he's shook right now. You know what I'm saying? Puff is shook because he knows, man, he's out here, man, by himself. He's that dude, man, with the Joker brought back, the banker dude in Dark Knight, man. You know what I'm saying? It was like on the TV screen. You know what I'm saying? So again, Sean may have an issue, man. What's your thoughts on that angle too? Because again, I saw FRSHOUT Star, man, talking about this the other day, man. A lot of cats know what's going on, but because of street code, nobody says anything. But again, Keffe D basically implemented himself because, again, you're an accomplice. If you're in the car, you still going to jail. It don't matter what you did. So again, what's your thoughts on the Puff angle as well?
So with the whole Keffe D situation, I think he was just not privy to the whole contract that he had with the government. He didn't know, like, obviously, if I go out here and say this, that I could be in trouble with this. He felt like maybe I had the complete immunity if I help you with solving this crime or I help you with the Biggie situation. Because a lot of people think these crimes are connected. If you solve Pac's, maybe you might solve Biggie's. So with Puff Daddy, I don't want to go off the deep end with the Puff Daddy, but there's a lot of people that believe that he may have put a hit out on Pac. And there's a lot of people that been talk about maybe he paid one of the other people in the vehicle that is no longer here. So there's actually no proof. So it's going to be hard to prove whether or not Puff Daddy is linked to this. If Keffe D has some information that maybe he's been holding on for a rainy day in case he gets tied up in this ship, I don't know. So maybe they're hoping that Keffe D does have information that he can actually give him that he didn't give him before. So that maybe that's why they're trying to pin him up. But I think it's just crazy that there's all this rumors still going out there with Pac. We know he did it. People still want to blame Suge Knight and shit now. You owe Suge Knight an apology. Most fans owe that dude an apology because he basically made him into the boogeyman. When now we already know the 4 people that did it have no connection to Suge Knight, and have more connection to Puff Daddy.
Puff, yeah. And again, like I said, we're not going off the end with it. Like even like Pirate 800 saying, man, Mark Curry's still speaking on that, man. We know Gene Deal, our guy, man, he's still saying the situation, man. But also we have, other cats who think, man, hey, man, this is deeper than that. But I think, man, honestly, it was some basic stuff, man. Again, we don't want to go into the Koofy moments and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, some events happen. Pac lost his life. Like you said, just occurrences that basically just happened. But somebody's got to pay for it, man, and nobody has yet. So again,
and that was just wrong place, wrong time for Pac. Pac shouldn't have been in that situation. Suge Knight shouldn't have been dealing with that because you see all these other big time billionaires and people that went from owning a record label to now having $1 billion, like because they ran their business properly, they got away from the mob. Ties and shit like that. Like Pac shouldn't have been moving like that. He should just been focusing on music and his movies and shit, his concerts, and he would be a multi-billionaire today if he did that. But it is what it is. He got bailed out by Suge Knight, and I feel like he felt like he was pressured to show his loyalty and shit like that Death Row and Suge Knight, and that's what happened. It just so happened it was a Crip, and obviously we know what happens when shit like that. People take you out for far less, and that's exactly what happened. Now with Keffe D, it's just the guy just felt like he had immunity, and now he just wants to talk on it and just basically profit off of it. And that's why I say on my Facebook, a lot of people want to give praise to the people that helped take this guy down. And it's great for being a Tupac fan. It's great for Tupac's family, Mopreme Shakur and his sister Set, that are finally getting some closure and having them to be able to know what happened and why. It's definitely great. But like I said, you're not really a Pac fan if you help pay Pac's killer to put all this news out there. And that's what it is. And then You know, I'm just going to say it. Vlad TV wants to go out there and say that he's solved this case, but then he wants to act like he don't have no links to the police. But you basically put your guest in the hot seat and basically got him pinned up, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you're building a brand and you think, oh, everyone's saying I have ties to the police and I get all my hosts arrested and shit, why are you still going to do shit and take credit for something that's going to make you look even more like a narc than what you already were?
Yeah.
That's just bad marketing, bad business strategy right there.
But the crazy thing, people still going up and still
people are still going up and doing it.
And still talking reckless and greasy too.
And he even said that the feds came to my spot and trying to get information out of him. But they don't need to do that because the information is already on your channel. And then he went and said, oh, I don't edit nothing in my videos. And that goes back to what I was saying, that he has no type of moral integrity for his host on his platform to like be like, hey, you shouldn't say this on here. You know, I want you to be a return customer. If you go to prison, you can't come back for interviews. Like, what if he did this to Boosie Badass and shit, you know? But like people aren't taking it that way because he helped solve one of the most iconic crimes in modern history. But it is what it is. He used the situation. He paid Tupac's killer, and then he profited off hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars off of this. Now he wants to take credit for something that people already knew. It was already in the book that Keffe D put out. It was already in Death Row Chronicles. So no, he did not solve this. It's just so much that his YouTube channel put out more information for the feds to use. The feds already knew this. It was already out there. So I call cap on Vlad TV. I call cap on all these people trying to take credit. Everybody already knew this shit.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, Vlad's been on that joint. He didn't solve anything to me. Just Keffe D just kind of put himself in his own trap.
Yeah, self-snitching.
Short Shot's basically asking, so he had immunity in LA, but not in Vegas.
That could be it too, because if you're working with one district, you're not gonna have immunity everywhere else, you know. So, but you know, he still was outside the confines of that original testimony, so it doesn't matter where he said it; he could still get pinned up for it.
What do you think? What Mama Bear is saying? Mama Bear saying, no doubt, the timing of this with the Dear Mama documentary, the Hollywood Star presentation.
I think these platforms were using clips and old clips of Keffe D more because Tupac was more in the news for the Dear Mama documentary and the Hollywood Star. So they were still pumping out all these clips, and you know, the feds were just raking it in.
Well, and like I said, the arrest happened. He's been charged. He's been released from what I've seen.
Well, actually, I only heard the mugshot was released. I didn't hear that he was released. So maybe not.
Okay, so again, like I said, we'll see what's going on. This is why, again, man, we do the Scandalous Talk once a week, man. We're trying to lock down a day, of course. But again, like I said, come here. This is your number one spot to get all the real Tupac news. Again, man, this week has been a little bit buzzing because of this arrest. But again, it almost just adds more fuel to the fire because there's no, again, in the video that we just showed, they really haven't shown why they arrested him other than just him mouthing off. So, again, like I said,
and that's probably a good strategy because you don't want to show your hand before you get to court and shit. So maybe they're holding back a lot of information. Maybe they were able to collect stuff on that raid that they have to talk about. Maybe they got other witnesses to connect Keffe D. It's not like Keffe D can now flip and say Suge Knight was behind it because Suge Knight could say, hey, I seen you with the murder weapon. So like, there's no way for Keffe D to get out of this unless they don't have enough credible evidence.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just glad as a Tupac fan that there is some type of closure here. It's been long overdue, and I'm really happy for his family that now know why and what happened. But, you know, and I'm kind of glad because now we could put all these theories that he's alive in Cuba or Suge Knight did it or the FBI did it. There's still people saying the LAPD did it. And I think there is some type of connection that maybe it could be government related as well, but that's still conspiracy because they did have Tupac under surveillance the last week of his life because they viewed him like a controversial figure on the level of Malcolm X, you know, and the reason I say Malcolm X, because even though people want to compare Martin Luther King to Tupac was more aggressive and he had more of a radical approach, much like Malcolm X. And I feel like
a fan base too.
And a bigger fan base. He could reach people with his music. He was a Hollywood star. So the FBI already was watching him. So I understand that whole situation where they want to say the FBI and stuff was behind it. And obviously the FBI, if you know their history, they took down a lot of Black Panthers without warning, you know, Mark Clark and shit. So I know all about that. Obviously, you know how big of a threat he is, so they're going to watch him. I just don't know the government had to do anything at that point because Tupac was putting himself in harm's way with all these different, you know, gang related activities. And it's just what it is.
Yeah.
which is very sad.